Good morning, everybody. I don't know if you can see me. I can see both of you. I just say a few words. I thank you, first of all, Professor Yuan Dujuan, for having agreed to give this speech within our research program on the Belt and Road Initiative. As all of you know, Professor Yuan is a professor of international private law in the law school of the Shanghai University, and she has been studying the problems of, in particular, international trade for a long while. So she is particularly qualified to give us today's speech on the new developments of the Belt and Road Initiative after the pandemic. All of us are well aware of the problems that the pandemic has created all over the world, but I believe that the present situation is appropriate in order to consider what the being over the pandemic can create a new, can create the conditions for, let's say, a new starting of the Belt and Road Initiative. So I thank again Professor Yuan, and I'll and thanks everybody for being with us today. You have the floor if you want to add some words.
It's perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Zunarelli. Right. So it's okay. So can we start, right?
Yes, we can start. I just want to specify to all the attendants that we are going to record this meeting and to share it on our website.
Okay.
I hope that it's okay for you too, Professor Yuan.
Okay. So yeah, it's a great honor and a privilege to address such a distinguished audience here today. And I should like to start by thank you all for being invited for this inspiring event organized by PRIN on the Belt and Road Initiative. I wish to thank Professor Zunarelli for providing the opportunity to for speech. So the topic is about the Belt and Road Initiative after reopening of China. So I am Dujuan Yuan. I'm from Law School of Shanghai University. I am also the General Secretary of ADR Arbitration Institute of Shanghai University. So today, and the topic will I will from the four aspects to for the talking about the BRI after reopening of China. First is about development of BRI. The second is the trend of developments after China. After China reopening in the BRI, the third is about the aspects should be or couldn't be enhanced between the BRI participating countries. The fourth is about the role of arbitration as a facilitator of the BRI development. So let's talk about the first part, current main developments in BRI. So I found some like statistics. By January 2023, China had signed more than 200 cooperation documents on the Belt and Road with 151 countries and 32 international organizations. So about the current development of BRI, we can find the key items. The BRI finance and investments is steady in 2022 at $67.8 billion compared to $68.7 billion in 2021. This first. Second, investments as a share of BRI engagement reached record levels at 48%, up from 29% in 2021 and compared to an average 40%. And since 2013, cumulative BRI engagement amounts to $962 billion, about $573 billion in construction contracts, and $389 billion in non-financial investments. And the new coal-related projects and plans were announced in 2022, including coal mining in Indonesia. Energy related engagement at the lowest level at $24.1 billion, compared to strong technology manufacturing engagement. Example, $7.6 billion investment in gigafactory, and fossil fuels constituted about 63% of Chinese BRI overseas energy engagement, particularly in gas pipelines and possibly undermining global climate goals. So green energy engagement like solar, wind, hydro in 2022 increased 50%. Investment by $0.1 billion to $2.7 billion, and construction projects by $1.9 billion to $5.3 billion, and 14 countries saw a 100 drop in BRI engagement, including Angola, Nepal, Peru, Russia, and Sri Lanka. Engagements with Sahara Africa and West Asia dropped to lowest level, while Arab and Middle Eastern countries could expand their shares of Chinese engagement. And major beneficiary countries of Chinese investments were Hungary, and Saudi Arabia and Singapore. The Philippines and Argentina were main beneficiaries of Chinese construction engagement. Average deal size for construction projects was the smallest since 2013, dropped from $496 million in 2021 to $330 million in 2022. Average deal size for investment projects increased. driven by few large transactions, such as battery producer, CATL, and 7.6 billion investment in Hungary. And the PRI investments in 2022 were unusually dominated by private sector enterprises, including CATL and Alibaba, while construction contracts were dominated still by state-owned enterprises. Totally, in 2022, global FDI into emerging economy developed similar to China's BRI engagement, with a mixed bag of growth and decline. In 2022, and a total of 16,000 China-Europe freight trains and 1,500 million tubes were shipped. And it is an increase of 10% and 11% year-on-year. And finally, in 2022, China trade with countries along the BRI Belt and Road reached a record high, with trade in goods reaching 13.8 trillion yuan, up 19.4% year-on-year and 15.7 points higher than the overall growth rate. So I will show you and share with you some figures. The figure one, the first figure, China BRI construction engagement top and investments bottom from 2013 to 2022 cumulative. So you can see the figure. So the construction and investment. And the second figure, share of construction and investment engagement in the BRI. So from the two figures, so we can find the share of investments in China BRI reached the highest on record. The share of Chinese engagement in the BRI through investments compared to construction has seen its highest level in 2022. Investments reached about 48% of BRI engagement compared to 29% in 2021. For construction projects, the deal size in 2022 was the lowest since the BRI was announced in 2013, with about $321 million in 2022 compared to $496 million in 2021. Let us see figure 3, the Chinese engagement in BRI and the non-BRI countries from 2013 till 2022. So this Chinese overseas investment. So we can see in 2022, the BRI countries outperform than in non-BRI countries. So the next week is about the Chinese BRI engagement in different regions from the beginning of BRI till last year, 2022. So we can see the regional and country analysis in the figure. Strong growth in East Asia. So East Asia is orange, is color orange in the column, and a significant slump in Sub-Saharan African countries. So Chinese BRI engagement was not evenly distributed among all regions. BRI countries in East Asia saw a 151% increase in Chinese investment and 76% increase in construction contracts, and became the region and became the dominant region recipients. 34% of the total for Chinese engagement. The second region is Middle Eastern countries. The Middle Eastern countries also expanded their cooperation with China and received about 23% of Chinese BRI engagement in 2022, up from 16.5% or about 21% of Chinese investment volume, twice the share of 2021. The next figure is about the growth and decline of Chinese BRI engagement from 2021 till 2022. We can see the global map. You can see the different the percent difference in quantity from the orange to green. The 14 countries saw 100 drop BRI engagement compared to 2021, including Russia, Angola, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Peru. China's engagement in Pakistan for the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor dropped by about 34%. And the largest growth, the countries with largest growth of BRI engagement were Hungary. You can see the Hungary's the increase 6,233% because of the investment from the biggest private enterprise, CATL. And the second is Malaysia. The percent is 877%, and the Philippines is 578%, and Cambodia 371%, and Argentina is 371%. The next figure is about Chinese BRI engagement in different sectors from the beginning year till last year. We can see the type of engagement, construction, investment, the two types. So Chinese engagement in related to energy sector constitutes the largest share of China's BRI engagement. So the energy, the first color, so this is highest. Next is a figure about transport engagement in BRI for China. So you can see the figure, the 4 types of transport. The first is like aviation and rail, road, and shipping. So you can see the 4 colors, yellow, purple, like pink, and brown. So 4 color represents 4 types of transportation. So transport related engagement is key to providing the means to trade between China and the BRI countries, where the trade is a core component of the BRI. Accordingly, China has invested in and constructed projects in road, rail, aviation, shipping, and logistics across the world. So we can see the 4 types of transportation. Aviation, 3 aviation-related construction projects were announced in 2022, including in Tanzania was about $190 million. About the rail transportation, total rail engagement was $7.3 billion, all through the construction contracts. Most of China's rail engagement in 2022 could again be found in East Asia, including the constitution of the high-speed rail projects connecting China through Thailand, Malaysia, and to Singapore. The 422 kilometer long railway connecting China and Laos had begun operating in December 2021. And in January of this year, the Philippines Department of Transportation awarded $2.8 billion contract to a Chinese consortium to build the first phase of 565 kilometer on the Pico rail scheme on the country's main island of Luzon. The third transportation is road transport. China continues to engage in road construction projects across many countries, and the volume reached $3.4 million in 2022, up from the $2.5 billion in 2021. Some road engagement is allowed through investment for toll roads or road annuity projects. And the fourth transport is ports. Till today, no port-related projects investment were announced in 2022. So the next, we will talk about the largest Chinese player in the Belt and the Road Initiative in 2022. Major player in BRI investments. So just we talk about contrary to most year before, in 2022, major player in BRI investments. Not not exclusively Chinese state-owned enterprises, but also private enterprise. So we can see the figures, investor and construction. So the number one is CATL, and Alibaba is the fourth. So they are also private enterprises. So just I want to share the current development, especially the development in 2022, the current development of BRI. We can find the current development through the figures. So let us turn to the second curve, trend of developments in the BRI. We can see where is the BRI going after 20th Congress and the reopening of China. So because last autumn, we have the great Congress in October 2022. So so in this part, I will share the trend of developments in the 20th Congress, and talk about my points about the trend of developments after the reopening of China of BRI. So we can look in 2022, we can outlook for BRI. So I think it's a challenging based on some reason. So as we know, we have the high inflation in the world, and the interest rates also the high interest rates, depressing financing opportunity in projects and M&A, as well as the geopolitical tensions and soaring protectionism. For the 2023, a further rebound of Chinese BRI engagement is possible with the removal of COVID-related travel restriction, particularly relevant for Chinese developers. So potential future engagements can be expected in 5 project types, like manufacturing in new technologies like batteries, trade enabling infrastructure, including pipelines, roads, and ICT, example data centers, and resource-backed deals, example mining, oil, gas, and high visibility or strategic projects like railway. And private company will continue to be the main player in the future. So I will talk the details about the trend of development of BRI. So first is about the direction of BRI in the 20th Party Congress. The focus of the 20th Party's Congress of Chinese Communist Party was on home policy, domestic policy, or internal policy. The Congress also revealed some important clues about China's foreign policy, including the direction of BRI. The BRI relevance is still, maybe I won't say BRI is still relevant for China. BRI has become a very popular international public good and platform for international cooperation. And the Party Congress also tell us the BRI projects and objectives. It is a new land sea corridor in the west, the Hainan Free Port, upgrading free trade pilot zones, and an expanding global network of high standard free trade zones, and the continued internationalization of the RMB. So there are two main changes for the BRI. First is the narrative. The second is the focus. What about the narrative of BRI? We can see that some the sentences, some words in the Congress. BRI has shifted from being China's foreign policy to being one of many tools of Chinese foreign and domestic policy. In the past, the BRI narrative drove a large part of China's foreign engagement, often with anything China did abroad being labeled BRI. That had not been the case in the past 3 years. It is unlikely to be the case in the future. The role of frameworks for China foreign policy now seems to have been superseded by the GDI, GSI, and GSDI. BRI is no longer just a part of China's foreign policy, but it has become one of the many tools of China's domestic and foreign policy implementation. And in past 2 or past 3 years, China has stopped labeling its foreign engagement and cooperation as BRI. So it is narrative change. And the second change is a focus. So BRI new focus. China focus on the BRI has shifted to benefiting its domestic market to achieve them by trade and investments. The focus of the Congress on domestic policy, and it is also of the ultimate and goal of many of its foreign policy. I think there are some material backgrounds. As we know, developing economies is where the competition between China and the West country. And competition will move in directions. One dimension regards access and creation of alternative markets for Chinese exports and access to the supplies necessary to achieve Chinese economic objectives like self-sufficiency. The other regards proposing alternative Chinese security development and standard related narrative to the proposed by US-led international order. So in the 20th Congress, so BRI has changed. The BRI has changed to be need to be like subject to home policy, domestic policy. It is not the foreign policy, not the final objective. So it is a new impulse to the further implementation of the BRI. For the 2023, further rebound of Chinese BRI engagement is possible with a removal of COVID-19 related travel restrictions, particularly relevant for Chinese developers. For 2023, with China's COVID-related lockdowns fully lifted, a broad recovery of BRI investments and construction contracts seems possible. On the one hand, but there is clear need for investment to boost growth in the post-COVID-19, supported by global financial institutions, including developing finance institutions, from which Chinese contractors can benefit. On the other hand, with travel restriction lifted, Chinese developers were able to travel freely to negotiate, plan, and implement new projects. So at this current stage, which aspects could be enhanced in order to achieve a better legal and economic integration between the BRI participating countries? So totally, I will talk that five aspects could be enhanced. First aspect is maybe focus on the financially viable projects. Focus on maybe the players need to focus on smaller projects for easier finance, like solar, wind energy, and phase out large projects risk to be financially non-viable, such as coal investments. And for second aspect, needs to be support BRI partner in dealing with the debt issue, especially for sovereign debt issues. So China needed to work with relevant domestic and international institutions to provide debt relief and revive local economies, and evaluate possibility for debt for nature swaps to ensure green recovery. Secondly, we need to get more international cooperation for co-investments, like supporting tripartite cooperation projects, diversifying funding sources to accelerate funding and reduce risk. The fourth aspect is about the best stance for environmental and social management in line with the green development guideline for projects. Apply best standards, because China government has declared the goal of the 23 and 2060, we need to get the highest of carbon emission and like that policies. So the fifth aspect is socially and environmentally phase out plan for low performing assets to avoid reputational, social, and environmental risk of possibly abandoned. And most bold projects developing implement socially and environmental conscious phase out strategies. And potential future engagement can be expected in 5 project types, like manufacturing in new technology like batteries for new energy costs, trade enabling infrastructure, including pipelines, roads, and ICT, data centers like Alibaba investment, made many investments out of China, like in East Asian region, and resource of backed deals, example mining, oil, gas, and the fifth is high visibility of all strategic projects like a railway. So this is about the which aspects can be or could be enhanced. And so the last part, I will talk about the the role of arbitration as a facilitator of BRI development. As we know, we will have a talk in on 27th of March, right? So I will just share the some opinion about the role of arbitration. So the role of arbitration as a facilitator of the BRI development. So why it is, I think maybe it's important. The arbitration will play a very important role in the BRI for the BRI development. As we know, BRI projects are often high value, multi-party, multi-jurisdictional, and always involve state interests. And the BRI almost comprise the two-thirds of the world investment. So the BRI regions and the countries differ significantly and fundamentally in terms of their cultural, political, and investment environments. So, and also the legal tradition vastly differ as to the legal system strength and the reliability. So based upon factors, so we can see that there are many disputes occurring in the future, and also we have seen some disputes in the past years. So, but for the arbitration, as we know, it's advanced, and there are many advantages, like its efficiency and its confidentiality, and also it's just so automatic, maybe can automatically and that like that. So there are many advantages for arbitration. So and it is in this spirit of cooperation so that I look forward to a stimulating day's discussion of international arbitration and the important role it will play in the BRI context. And I hope we can develop sound dispute settlement mechanism in which all can have confidence of fair and equitable achievement, and which provide outcomes in commercially reasonable time frames is a worldwide challenge. So maybe we can share many points, many opinions in next conference. So because arbitration, so and also we can see that some arbitration status in BRI countries. So till now, at present, most of the 71 countries along the Belt and Road have formulated their own arbitration legal system in accordance with the model law on international commercial arbitration, which has laid a raw foundation for the establishment of a new Belt and Road international commercial arbitration mechanism. And for China also has revised our Chinese arbitration law according to the model law on international commercial arbitration. So we will, I think, so many countries has almost a similar arbitration legal system. So we have the fundamental basis. So we can have maybe the similar or same arbitration mind or idea to resolve our disputes. And along the Belt and Road countries, we can also find some like important arbitration institutions. There are many specialized arbitration institutions along the Belt Road, including SIAC, Singapore International Arbitration Center, and Kuala Lumpur Regional Arbitration Center, and the Cambodia National Commercial Arbitration Center, and the Vietnam International Arbitration Center, and Dubai International Arbitration Center, and the Cairo International Commercial Arbitration Regional Center, etc. So we have many arbitration institutions along the Belt and Road countries. So we have the fundamental basis for using arbitration to resolve our disputes during the BRI engagements. So maybe we can talk more contents, more points in next conference, in next speech. So today it's all for my speech. Thank you for consideration. Thank you for hearing.
Thanks a lot, Professor Yuan. I really appreciate your speech. It's useless. I underline some of the elements that you have touched, in particular, not only the geographical distributions of the investments within the BRI project, but also the new narrative of the project that you have emphasized. The perspectives, of course, have changed, but I think there are a few elements which could be very interesting also in the Italian perspective, let's say. For example, the fact that a new emphasis has been put on financially viable projects, so that it's more important that the projects that are submitted to the Chinese party are financially viable. Moreover, the bigger importance, the favor for smaller projects, and I think that's very important for the Italian companies that, as you know, are in large part middle and small enterprises, and the emphasis on co-financed projects. Again, I think that could be very interesting for many Italian companies to have the participation of a Chinese company or financial institution to the projects that they are developing in many areas, in particular new energies and green investments and so on. So I thank you again very much for your speech. I wonder if there is any question.
There is a question.
Yeah, okay.
Do you believe that after first period of state-owned enterprise investment and the current period of private large cooperation, where will be more space for SMEs, small medium enterprises, Chinese or international small medium enterprises in the BRI projects?
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you. Yeah, so in my opinion, as we can see some figures in my speech. So there are some like state-owned and like biggest state-owned enterprises and the largest private corporation. They have made many investments in the along the Belt and Road countries. But for the space of SMEs, maybe I think there are also some space, but not so much. I think based on some like reason, because for the SME, maybe they are not so you maybe as we know, if you want to go abroad to invest, maybe you need to fund something, you need to get some your objective. But for SMEs, maybe I think they are not so much like stimulating to go abroad. So I think maybe also because for the and just as I said, maybe there's some space for SMEs because there are some different objective for large corporation and SMEs. So just for the SME company, they will find that they are maybe individual, they are maybe the comfortable like projects or investment, like as we know, maybe like international commercial, like you can say amazing, like in China's like Taobao. Maybe we can see many like SME, they can do some like business in the website. They also can find some they can invest or find some goods along the Belt and the Road countries, because there are different resources. Maybe like there are some different goods in Middle Eastern countries. So like Chinese SME, they need to trade with the company from the Middle Eastern countries. So I think there are also some space. So it's my opinion.
Thank you so much. There is another question. Infrastructures are still the core industry sector for BRI projects, or do you see any other industry to be developed, such as digital, healthcare, and so on?
You mean the digital and the solar and the new energy investment, right?
Yes, I think that this participant, this person that is attending, is asking if transport infrastructures or also other infrastructures if are still the core industry for BRI projects, or you can envisage other sectors that are going to be developed, and for such as the digitalization, ICTs. I think you mentioned them during several times during your presentation, and also healthcare sector, along with the infrastructure sector, or even to be developed more than infrastructure sectors. I hope that it is clear. So.
Yeah, right. I agree. So because as maybe the conflict between China and the America, and so maybe many like Chinese corporation, especially Alibaba or other like biggest private company, they have some many advantages for ICT. But maybe they have the like global corporation. So they will maybe establish their digital center in Singapore or other country. So they will maybe it's more convenient for them to operate in the world. So like I think like digital as a digital sector, and also maybe the new technology, like high technology, like maybe you can see the is cheap, or like other, there are many there are many new technology like blocked by US. Maybe the Chinese investment will focus on the industry blocked by US. So I think there's some many like opportunity for Chinese, especially Chinese private corporation, to go out to establish their digital center in Singapore, in East Asia, or in Middle East country.
If I can raise a question, I would like to thank you for your very in-depth, interesting presentation, and it raised many questions in me, but I was interested also in particular to the instruments for co-investment. What are or could be the instruments for co-investment among, for example, public companies or state authorities and private companies? And if there are examples of investments realized involving more than one state, along with the PRC, but also more than one countries in which the PRC is investing. I hope that it was clear.
Yeah, you mean maybe you mean there are many like players, right? Many types of players, like public company, like authority, and like a financial institution. And I think that as we know, 2023, it is the 10th year for the BRI. So I think that in the platform of BRI, there will many types of player in the BRI, like just the first question, the SME and public company, public authority, and also like a private company. I think, so there are many opportunities for them. And also for Chinese, as we know, many private company, because they worried future, maybe the domestic, if they only focus on domestic operation, maybe they are worried about maybe the future because of the conflict between China and the US. So they have to go out, have to go abroad, because BRI, maybe BRI, as we know, also especially Eastern Asia, there are many, like there are maybe the similar culture for Chinese as Chinese, so they are like to invest in the region of East Asia, like many Chinese people went to Singapore to invest, and many move that like the headquarters to Singapore. And also I think the second is like Middle Eastern region, like Dubai. And I know because of the conflict between China and the US, and so many like international trade cooperation, they also change their headquarters to like to Dubai, because they maybe also change the like registration of the company, and also change the nationality of the company. So when they change the nationality of the company, and they maybe can be more free, much more free to make more international trade. So I think that there are many players. Maybe they are different for different players. They have different purpose to move out. So I think so there are many. I think that many companies and also many Chinese they are ready to go out.
And do you think that so far, what kind of legal instruments, legal tools are using? For example, in Europe, we have a public-private partnership as contracts, as the instruments. I don't know which kind of instruments are going to be used in the BRI.
Yeah, you mean the dispute resolving ways,
no,
right?
the initial contracts that set the rights and obligations by the private investors and the public body, the public authority involved in the project.
Yeah, so you mean there are some between the public and the private, there are some disputes. So you mean the legal issues? So I think maybe the arbitration, just talk about arbitration is the best way to resolve disputes. But I also heard some there are some problem of legal problem during the maybe among the investment of Chinese enterprises. They say they are mainly like a legal issue to invest in BRI countries. Maybe yesterday I also talked about there are some legal issue in Vietnam. When the Chinese government invested in Vietnam, but they couldn't bring their profits from Vietnam freely. So like this. So maybe they are because the BRI countries, they are different cultural and they are maybe the underdevelopment legal institution, legal system. So they are mainly the legal issues maybe will apply them more and more. So yeah, so I think the arbitration is best way. And also second, in China we have established, organized the CPC, maybe the Supreme CPIC, and also for China, we also encourage to use mediation to resolve disputes.
There is if you have time, there is a last question. Do you believe that railway could cover a stable world position among the other means of freight for trade between BRI participating countries?
Okay,
do you believe that railway could have a stable role among the other means of freight for the trade between BRI participating countries? About the role of railway.
Railroad, you mean railroad transportation, right?
Yes, with regard to the other transport means.
Yeah. So railway, we from some figures I have showed in my presentation. We can see especially in the last 3 years during the pandemic situation, the railway transportation has played a very important role for the BRI trade or investment. So because but in the future, maybe I think that especially the China and Europe freight train, I think the role will be continue. So I think yeah, maybe many goods will be transported by the train, by the railway.
Thank you so much, Professor Yuan, for your very impressive presentation, and also for your answers to our questions. We are going to meet each other also during the conference on arbitration and the Belt and Road. So it will be a pleasure to meet you again. And I would like to thank you again for this webinar. We have been very honored to have you as our speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, and also the next, we can see the next question. The last question: infrastructure are still in core industry sector for BRI projects, and do you see any other industry? Oh yeah, digital. Yeah, it's your question, right? Digital healthcare, right?
Yes, I had already read it to you. I was reading the questions in the chat to you.
Oh,
because we
okay.
received the questions and I read them to you in order to enable you to answer them.
Okay, thank you. I got it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so thanks again, Professor Yuan. I particularly appreciated also your answer to the question concerning the perspectives for SMI in the new developments of the BRI project, and we are very happy that we are going to meet again soon on the seminar scheduled for the 27th of March. So thanks again to you. Thanks again to Elena and to all those who have attended this meeting. And see you soon on the 27th. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have
a nice day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.